Now then, welcome back to another episode on Utopia³. This is Nemsun's complete guide to the Redstone Arsenal, an expansion to thermal expansion, which we just recently added into our Modpack and are playing on the server at the moment. As you can see behind me, I have created the entire arrangement of tools and the sword and all the other items in the Redstone Arsenal. And the following video will be a very quick guide to everything you need to know without all of the ramblings I normally do in one of my episodes. So thank you very much, please enjoy. So we're going to start out with the Redstone Arsenal complete guide with a look at the tools that we're going to be making. Now, the flux infused axe requires 3 flux infused electrum ingots and 3 infused obsidian rods. The basic recipe shape for an axe, the same goes with a pick, the same goes with a shovel, and the same goes with a sword. But we've also got a battle wrench, which requires a few extra ingots in this shape, and also a sickle in this shape, and an omni wrench in this shape. So with all those, I've calculated that we need 20 fluxed electrum ingots, and we're also going to need 10 infused obsidian rods. So, working those back down into their core components, I believe we can get by with just this array here. 20 diamonds being probably the most expensive part of the entire mod, and that should get you every single item. So you can limit yourself, but if you've got this much stuff lying around, it should be easy. So to start off with, we're going to need ingots, and we're going to need 20 of them. The ingots are made in an induction smelter using pyrotheum dust and fluxed electron blend, and each one of the electron blend basically makes 1 ingot. We need 20 ingots, so we're going to need 20 electron blend and 10 pyron dust. Now the dust requires us to use redstone, coal dust, sulfur and blaze powder, and that makes 2. So to get 10 of these, we're going to need 5 of each of these resources. So we've got our 5 redstone. But how do we make the coal dust? Well, we pulverize coal. That's straightforward enough. And how do we get the blazes? Blaze powder. We get the blaze rods and pulverize blaze rods. So let's start with the pulverizing. There is the other thing that we need, which is sulfur. And sulfur is a byproduct of the blaze powder and coal, as you can see. So we now have 8, and we actually only need 5. And we have 1 of the sulfur that we need. So coal, we're going to need to make some coal dust. Now coal dust is 1 for 1, so we make 1 pulverized coal for each 1 coal, but there is a small chance that we'll get sulfur from this as well. And there's our 5 pulverized coal. So we have our 5 redstone, 5 pulverized coal and 5 blaze powder with a few spares. We'll put the spares to one side because we're going to use them for the obsidian rods a bit later on. But we only managed to get 1 sulfur out of it. The sulfur is actually a 50% chance in a pulverizer from blaze rods. So we're going to pulverize these blaze rods as well, as that's a fairly effective option. I'll probably have more blaze powder than I actually need, but I need to get 5 sulfur. So there we go. That was pretty much a 50-50 chance, but I'm still 2 short. So nearly managed to get all the sulfur I needed from that. Now there is another method of getting sulfur, and you can get that through railcraft ore. But I could just go down the route of getting myself another few coal and running that through a few more times, or getting some more blaze rods and running that through a few more times. I personally would choose the blaze rods. So long as I've got a good supply of blaze rods, I would pulverize them because blaze powder is useful in many other recipes as well. Whereas pulverized coal not so many other recipes. So now we've got our 5 sulfur, our 5 blaze powder, and our 5 coal, and our 5 redstone. So what are we going to do with them? Well, they shapelessly craft together to make the pyrotheum dust. So there's 6 pyrotheum dust, 10 pyrotheum dust. So now we have our 10 pyrotheum dust in there. We're going to make the flux electrons. Now with flux electrum, you need to put an electron blend in a fluid transposer. And it takes 200 megabuckets of destabilized redstone to turn one electron blend into a fluxed electron blend. Now we need 20 fluxed electron blend. So we're going to need 20 electron blend, which means we're going to need 40 redstone to cover the cost here. So there's the 40 redstone, and electron blend is made up of silver and gold dust, or pulverized silver and gold. So to start with, we've got the fluid transposer here, and it's got some destabilized redstone in it already. But I'm going to put another 40 through, and it is 40 that it needs, and that should fill it all the way up there. While that's happening, we're going to pulverize the gold once again to make pulverized gold. And once the gold has finished pulverizing, we're going to start up the silver. Now, of course, you could pulverize gold ore, and you would get 2 for each one. So you'd need 5 gold ore blocks to make the 10 pulverized gold. As I've already turned all of my dusts and powders and pulverized materials into ingots through a processing system, I'm repulverizing these ingots down into their component forms. I'm not losing anything other than using a bit of power doing it this way. There are a couple of types of silver ores in this mod pack, but Thermal Expansion have their own silver ore, which again would double up, meaning you'd need 5 silver ore. Once we've got our ores, we can place them together and make an electron blend. Now we've got 20 electron blend. Take them over to the destabilized redstone over here, put the 20 in, and that will make us the 20 fluxed electron blend. So now we have our 20 fluxed electron blend. We can put that together with our pyrotheum dust and put those two together into an induction smelter. Those and those create the ingots that we want, the fluxed electrum ingots, and these are basically the metal that makes all of the tools, and it makes 2 for each one, and it does 2 at a time. So that should be done in no time. But while we're waiting for that, let's have a look at making the rods, the tool rods themselves, an obsidian tool rod. Now the obsidian tool rod we're going to need 10 of, so that's 10 blaze powder and pulverized obsidian, 20 pulverized obsidian. So we take 10 blaze powder, like so, and that's our spares, and we're going to take this 5 obsidian and put the 5 obsidian through a pulverizer. Now each obsidian makes 4 pulverized obsidian, so we should end up with 20 pulverized obsidian. So now we've got our 20 pulverized obsidian, we're going to end up with the right crafting recipe to make our obsidian rods. There is one other thing that we're going to need to sort out, which is adding the infused crystals, the flux crystals, onto these obsidian rods. And the flux crystals are made by putting diamonds into the destabilized redstone. So there are 20 diamonds needed, 10 each end, as we look at it here. So 10, 20. So we're going to get 20 diamonds, and because it takes 2 redstone per diamond to coat it, we're going to set that running while we're over here. So I'm going to put the 40 redstone in the magma crucible, and I'm going to put the 20 diamonds in there to begin processing. Now we go over to a crafting bench, and we're going to put in to make our rods. And then we should have 10 rods. Well, I made 18 because I shift clicked, and I've already got pulverized obsidian in the system. So there we have our 10 obsidian rods. So all we need to do now is wait for our 20 flux crystals to appear. But we'll start with the very first one while we're waiting for the others. Simple crafting recipe, 1 in the middle and 2 either side, gives us the infused obsidian rod. And if we go over to our induction smelter, we'll see that we've got 20 fluxed electrum ingots ready to roll. And the first thing we can make with our first rod is the sword. And now we have the flux infused sword. Right, now the rest of our flux crystals have been created. We've got 18, so we've got the other 9 obsidian infused rods that we need to make our tools, and we've got the 18 electrum ingots left to create our tools from. One thing I'm going to look at as well, even though these blocks don't seem to have a purpose, are the flux crystal block, which has 9 flux crystals, and the fluxed electrum block, which has 9 ingots. So what we're going to do is I've got 9 more ingots sorted out. I'm going to put 9 more diamonds in there just to finish that off. There should be enough in there to do the 9 diamonds, and we'll play around with those blocks after I've finished constructing all the tools. So as you can see, I've replaced my inventory, messed about a bit so that I can put my sword in my sword slot. It currently has 0 charge, so it has no use really whatsoever. It probably only does 1 damage per hit. But we now are going to make all the other bits and pieces as well. These flux crystals go together to make all of the obsidian rods that we need, and we're going to start off by making ourselves one of the axes. Stick that on a hotbar. We're going to make one of the pickaxes. Stick that on a hotbar. Make a shovel. Stick that on a hotbar, and make ourselves the battle wrench, flux infused battle wrench, and an omni wrench. And also we can finally make the sickle. So we've now got one of each tool on our hotbar, made through the redstone arsenal, and we ended up with 5 blaze powder left over at the end of it all. I'll stick that away for now. And this flux infused block, we can have that out, see what that does. And also our diamonds should be finished now. Yep, so we'll quickly craft those up. And that is all our crafting done. Now we need to figure out how to power these things. So I've got a few options for you. Now the redstone arsenal will fit into an energetic infuser, which can be made like so, and then that can charge up all of your weapons and tools quite easily. Other mods also may charge up, such as the Ender IO. We can place our battle wrench in there, and it will soon fill up with all the flux required. And on top of that, we have one other little device that we can use, and that is a potato. And I'm not joking, this is a thermal expansion tuberous flux capacitor. A potato, a bit of redstone, and a lead nugget, and it allows you to craft a tubulous flux capacitor. Now a tubulous flux capacitor, let's have a look. When we put it on our hotbar, we can activate it with a right click, with a shift right click, and then whatever of these we hover over and shift, we will be charging up. So we're currently holding the sickle and charging the sickle up from a potato, and you can see that the potato is going down. It will be charging held items, but they must remain in the hotbar at all times. So now we're charging up the sickle. It would take a long time, and we would get a fully charged sickle by the end of it. And when the potato is empty, check this out. Nearly running down now. And boom, it becomes a standard baked potato for you to have a quick munch on. Yum yum. So however you charge your flux infused tools and sword, you will get a little shift over bit of information on them. Shift for details. And each one has its own attack values. So, for instance, the sword is attack value 8, but it also does +1 flux damage. I believe that's when it's empowered, and you press V to empower it. Each one has a V to empower, and 6 damage overall for the axe, 5 damage overall for the pickaxe, 4 damage overall as the shovel, and 7 damage overall for the battle wrench, 1 damage overall for the omniwrench, and 6 damage overall for the sickle. Each of these has a very unique little ability as well. The sword has a basic attack, which killed the spider in 3 hits. Not too bad, not too shabby. But pressing V, and we empower it. Now we're up against a group of zombies with an empowered sword. It takes pretty quick care of armoured opponents. And another feature is with a right click, you can push mobs away from you. They can't get within 2 blocks. So you can push them around, but you do move very, very slowly. So these mobs will not be able to attack me while I'm blocking because they get pushed away from me. Which is pretty useful if you're getting completely swarmed. Then you can smack them about a bit, hold them off, and smack them and finish them off again. Well, while we're down here in the dark caves, let's have a look at what the pickaxe can do. As a normal pickaxe, it is basically a diamond pick. Just literally carves out a space as a diamond pick. But also, it's pretty fast on gravel. Now, empowered, this breaks gravel and sand and dirt at shovel speed, diamond shovel speed. But it does a little bit more to stone. It breaks a 3x1 area centered on the pick. So from that block, it takes the top and bottom block as well. Very nice for quickly building tunnels out of nowhere. Pretty cool, yeah? When using these powered abilities, you'll hover over and see that its now charged use is 800 redstone flux per use. So when it's not activated, it's using 200 per use. When it is activated, it's 800 per use. I believe that to be true for all of the items that I'm going to be showing you. So let's have a look next at the shovel. Now the shovel is V to empower again, 4 damage, and also serves as a hoe. Now the special bonus about this shovel is you can dig as a normal shovel, yep, but you can also take out a large section. So when we empower it, we can take out a large run of 5 blocks straight forwards. When it's not empowered and you right click, you can hoe the dirt. When empowered and you right click, you hoe 5 dirt. Pretty cool. So the sickle will remove quite a large area of leaves and also farm produce, good things like that, in easy one click, the same as a normal size from any other mod. But in this case you can also empower the sickle. You hear the thunder. And this will now take out a much larger area. Much larger area, clearing huge chunks of leaves and grass and everything else very quickly. It's pretty amazing. Moving on to the axe. The axe is a pretty good diamond axe when it comes down to the basics of chopping down trees and doing a bit of woodwork here and there. And it will literally take down a tree as fast as a diamond axe would. Now if you empower the axe, it will do a larger area. Full trees, not quite. It will do, let's have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks up. Let's go just there. Boom. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like it's a 5 blocks up, and it treats the whole tree as being harvested in that way. Now I'm not 100% sure. Let's test this out to see if it will affect a tree next door. So let's take the sickle, clear some area around here. We'll see what's going on. Right, this will do. And these two trees are so close together that we'll test it out on this. No, it just treated the one tree, and it did, again, a 5 by 5 area, including that tree, really. So it quickly fell trees. Not quite in one foul swoop, but it will quickly fell trees. The axe and the sickle will clear areas very, very quickly indeed. And then we have the Omni Wrench. The Omni Wrench will do all the wrench things, but it can also act like shears and shear out things. A never-ending set of shears. Sounds good. All you have to do is keep recharging it with Redstone Flux. Awesome if you need those leaves. Of course, the main thing for the Omni Wrench is just to be able to remove almost anything that needs a wrench. So, for instance, the Ender IO conduits just literally pop off like it was using the Ender IO wrench. Quickly wrench AE cables. We can drop down a level, and of course we can quickly wrench out the thermal expansion conduits and energy cells, not a problem. And the battle wrench will also serve the same purpose. Now, the battle wrench can turn around, turn things on and off, take things around, just the same as the Omni Wrench can. But with a shift right click, pops them off in exactly the same way as the Omni Wrench. So it depends really on your choice. The battle wrench or the Omni Wrench. If you're peaceful, the Omni Wrench is for you. If you're battle hardened and want to smash those mobs up, then the battle wrench is for you. While the battle wrench is a pretty useful tool, it also has a special ability that it turns mobs around. Not much use against creepers or against zombies, but against skeletons, it's a very useful feature because they can't shoot back. Because they can't shoot back, I say, sorry Skelly. Empowered does a little bit more damage and spins the opponent round. So this skeleton here will be dead in a shot. The fused electron block. At the moment I can't find any use for it other than a decorational block, but you'll notice that in this dark area, if I place it down, it has a certain light level. The fluxed electron block seems to have a light level of 6 from the space right next to it in all directions. So it emits a light level of 6, which of course travels down a few more blocks. So it will allow mobs to spawn on top of it. It will allow mobs to spawn beside it because it's not a high enough light level. But it does look kind of cool, having the redstone flux flowing inside it. And exactly the same thing for the redstone flux crystal block. Looks pretty cool. It cost 9 diamond to make, so it'll have to look really good in a build for it to be worthwhile. And I take damage while standing on it. And this one? Yep. Both of them emit the light level of 5, and both of them cause damage when you're standing near them. Presumably that's some sort of flux damage. It doesn't appear to be much and in my armor, and it doesn't give any special abilities, but it is giving my armor a good caning. So that's enough of that. I don't believe there's any other properties to it, so let's just quickly check something else out. The redstone flux blocks do not give off any redstone current or pulse whatsoever. Check the top of that one as well. Yeah, no redstone whatsoever. So these may be blocks that will be updated, future updates of Redstone Arsenal. Well, thank you guys for watching this short and hopefully straight to the point complete guide to Redstone Arsenal. Now, as we put these things away, just on display, nice record of achievement up there above our thermal expansion range. You can look upon this episode as completed. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Utopia³ server. Goodbye.